Hello and welcome to today's webinar Wednesday for SOLIDWORKS Composer. My name is Scott Woods, the product manager for SOLIDWORKS Composer here at Hawk Ridge Systems. So today's webinar we're going to be going over, it's actually going to be a little bit different than what we've done in the past, and this is going to be what Composer isn't and what Composer is actually designed for and what its best uses are going to be for, depending on what topic we're reviewing. So the 5 misconceptions of SOLIDWORKS Composer. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this started. Just to start out here, to do a quick rundown of what we're going to be discussing in this webinar is from number 5 down, detailed engineering drawings. So a detailed engineering drawing is going to be something you would expect to see, to produce by engineering department with SolidWorks, lots of views and cutaways and stuff like that. It's not what Composer is meant for, and we'll go into details on that. Website publishing tool, number 4. So all content out of Composer is designed for the website, but it is not a tool to build websites. And of course, we'll be going into further detail on that one. The third one is a 2D CAD or image editor. This is going to be for vector or raster edit as far as images or drawings. And it's not what Composer is intended for as well. And the number 2 misconception is a photorealistic render. So Composer is a super fast rendering application. It is not designed to do photorealism, and we'll go into much further details on that as well. And then the number 1 misconception for SOLIDWORKS Composer is it's a CAD modeler. I hear all the time is, I own SOLIDWORKS, why would I need Composer? I can already make models. Well, Composer actually makes 0 models whatsoever, and we'll get into that at the very end. Okay, so just to start this off before we actually get into these topics, I want to run through a quick overview of what the SOLIDWORKS Composer workflow looks like, and that's it here. So Composer imports the 3D models, the 2D images, and photos. So that's going to be any of your CAD designs, the actual 3D models. That can be from various CAD platforms. Of course, this is a SOLIDWORKS product. We're going to communicate directly with SOLIDWORKS, but we can also import other models such as STEP, IGES, any of our competitors out there, even models such as like Rhino and 3ds Max and stuff like that, we can bring right in. 2D images, so that's going to be any screenshots, configurations, any renders, and then photos. So you run a product through design or through manufacturing, take photos of it along the way. Perhaps there's something you take a photo of that's not necessarily modeled, something maybe like a wiring harness or something like that. We can actually bring that photo into Composer with annotations and leaders and stuff and say, hey, this goes here, even though there's no model for it. That's compiled all within Composer. All the step-by-steps are created. All the content for basically for the 5 misconceptions that are going to be published out at the end are developed and exported directly from Composer as images. So it's going to be JPEG, bitmaps, PNGs. As video, that's going to be an AVI video. AVI is a universal format that can be converted into any other format that's out there in the market. Very easy to do, and it doesn't cost a thing. Interactive videos is a third output for Composer, and this is going to be interactive content. It can be a self-executable file that you can open up on any computer, any PC, without anything else installed. Rotate the model, zoom in and out, click on things that are hyperlinked to websites or videos or other parts within the document. Okay. Also, if you watched our last 3 webinars for the On Target Tuesdays for 2014, we actually went through all these exports in detail, and that's actually available on our site under the recorded webinar section if you would like to check that out. Okay, so first one here, starting from the back. Number 5, detailed engineering drawings. So on the left is a drawing that's been developed by SOLIDWORKS, and as you can see, there's section views, the cutaway detail, Up here in the right corner we have a couple isometric views of the model, dimensioning, and nice little placement of the model as you get your front, side, back, top, all within a single drawing. So that is not what Composer is designed to do. What Composer gives you is a tool that can be used by engineering or even a non-engineer who's going to take the model directly from SOLIDWORKS, bring it into Composer, do a quick exploded view, throw on add BOM items or BOM numbers, throw on balloons, show the bill of materials, and quickly publish out vector or raster images of that drawing. And that can be done within minutes compared to hours or days when you're actually doing a full-scaled engineering document. So it's a way to very quickly output something at a fraction of the time and without the skills necessary to learn a full CAD application. Okay, the second one, number 4, going down the list, is website publishing. So I get this misconception quite a bit, and because when you see Composer content, most of the time that's actually published on the web. So when a customer of ours is developing stuff in Composer, it typically ends up on the web, kind of leading to the misconception that that website was actually designed with Composer. On the left here, this is a screenshot from Adobe Dreamweaver. That is a website publishing tool where you go in, edit the HTML, organize your pictures, your text, and whatever is going to be in that web page. Composer is going to be supplying you the images and the content for that web page. So they do actually work really well together. For Composer, we are exporting our SVG files, which are vector-based vector graphics files that will bring right into any website publishing tool and be able to use that to actually put 2D drawings, 2D exploded views on the net, and of course images and video as well. Text, all that can actually be exported directly from Composer, then to be used in a website publishing tool. Okay, the third one. And this is going to be the 2D image editor. So 2D CAD or image, I combine these two into one because even though they're kind of two separate things, but there are tools that blur that line between what is 2D vector, what is CAD, and what is an actual image. One of those programs that kind of blurs that line is CorelDRAW. And I approach this all the time where I go to a company and they say, yeah, we design everything in SOLIDWORKS, we create configurations, then we take a screenshot of that configuration or that exploded view, bring it into CorelDRAW, add balloons, add dimensions, and output an image from there in our tech pubs, which works, but there is absolutely no link back to any 3D model, any CAD file, and later on if you have to update anything, you have to start from scratch. So what Composer does is it brings that 3D model in, retains that link from Composer to SOLIDWORKS or to whoever that 3D model came from, and allows you to manipulate it, show the dimensions, build materials, views, and detailed views such as what you're seeing right here, but retaining that link back to the CAD file. So when CAD is updated, Composer is updated, we republish it out, everything is consistent and up to date. Once you break it into a rasterized format, like Photoshop or CorelDRAW, GIMP, there's many different versions out there, Illustrator, you break that link, and now anything done in there, you have to retake the screenshot, you have to start from square one when you got to do an update. Now with that said, the vectorized output from Composer can be directly brought into a program such as CorelDRAW, and the lines can be edited, they can be moved around, and the regions can be colored and all that good stuff. So if that's a workflow that you would like to still pursue, then Composer can actually get you better content that goes into that program than you would with the screenshot or any other output. Okay, so the second one here is photorealistic rendering, and this is number 2. It might even be number 1. I was kind of debating between the two here, and what Composer is when it comes to rendering is the fastest renderer on the market that tells a story. So when you look at these two images, the one on the left is SOLIDWORKS with PhotoView 360. It says PhotoWorks up there. That is wrong. It's actually PhotoWorks or PhotoView. And I'm going to edit that right now because that should not be there. We'll say PhotoView 360. Okay. From current slide. There we go. Very important I fixed that because that's a big difference there. Okay, so PhotoView 360 is SOLIDWORKS' current rendering tool, and that's a ray tracing application. That's going to calculate refractions of light, reflections, shadows, caustics. It's going to make your model and your rendering look as real as it possibly can be without being real. You spend time doing that. So if you need this photo, that's like absolutely, and that's a lot of cases you need that. That's definitely a requirement. However, you're going to spend hours or even days getting a single image looking perfect. And when you think it's perfect, you render it out, you wait a couple hours, it renders, you're like, it's not exactly what I want, retweak it, and you go back and forth till you get that ideal image. In Composer, what you're seeing on your screen is exactly what you're going to render out when you say render to a file. You're going to get that in a matter of seconds. So we have this Composer document on the right. It tells that story. It has exploded lines, detailed circles, got a little detailed view here. It says, hey, this is the item here that we're going to be exploding out. It tells that story, but at the same time it looks good doing it. It has good shadowing, good reflections. It doesn't do ray tracing, so it's not going to calculate refractions of light between two objects, which really gives you that next level realistic looking element which you're seeing on the left. But it's so fast that you can render out like 60 images in less than a minute. Each image that you render out at high quality is typically less than a second to render out, compared to hours or days when you're trying to get that real photorealistic looking image. So it's very important to know what Composer is good for and what it's not, and what it's actually designed to do, and that's to create these quick stories or quick images that tell that story. Okay, so going to the number one, and it's the CAD Modeler. So SOLIDWORKS is designed to, from scratch, you make a sketch, you extrude that to a model, you make your design, it calculates everything you need to calculate for this design to function right, and then once that design is completely finished, you have this working model in SOLIDWORKS. Now in Composer, there's no modeling tools whatsoever. You actually need models for Composer to function. So what you do with Composer at that point is you can bring this model at any stage that's in SOLIDWORKS into Composer, and they work parallel with each other side by side. So let's say that we started modeling this item here in SOLIDWORKS, and maybe we start that with a revolve or an extrude of one of these top rings here. At that point, as soon as that first extrusion is made, you can then import that file into Composer and start working in Composer, setting up your views, bringing that ring just for placement and size, and then as the model is being constructed in SOLIDWORKS, you tell Composer to update whenever you want. It's just a file update, looks at the current version, updates it. So while it's being modeled, you can be working in Composer and doing all your design elements there in SOLIDWORKS while doing all your documentation elements in Composer. As soon as the design in SOLIDWORKS is completed, then in Composer we wrap it up, do the final details, and push it out, getting that documentation out to market basically just right after the design is finished, instead of waiting for the design to finish and then start working on our documentation, and then finally when that's done, getting it approved and getting it out the door, which can actually delay that process quite a bit. So okay, so those are the misconceptions with SOLIDWORKS Composer, and now we get into basically, well, what does it really do well? As you can see, a lot of these items that we're doing in other programs, that we're doing in Composer can be done in other programs. So like our drawings, you could use SOLIDWORKS drawings to do that. Our renderings, you could use PhotoView 360 to create those renderings. Any kind of step-by-steps can be used with configurations. And this is one thing I get all the time from our customers. Like, okay, well, we can create this, so why would we even want Composer? Because we're already doing it and we're already getting exactly what we want. And the answer to that is it's increased time and productivity, faster creation of instructions, and faster updating. These clips here from this slide actually were taken directly, unedited, directly from the case studies. And as you can see here, what we're seeing all the time, and this is a very small percentage of many case studies that are out there, is that we typically get a 60 to 80% increase in productivity. That same percentage, 60 to 80%, in the creation of instructions and any kind of documentation that is required for that design, for that part. And that relates directly to the update as well. So that's creating it and updating it up to 80% faster than with other methods. Translation is a big one. So language translation, if you can show how an item is supposed to go together, an assembly to go together without words, then you don't have to translate that to other languages. And so what we found there is companies that have been doing a lot of language translation have actually been able to cut their translation down to 50%, thus reducing their cost by 50% of that translation cost. 25% in training and assembly. And so we have our guys out on the shop floor that actually are assembling this together. They have to be taught on how the items are assembled together to actually assemble it. So what Composer does is offers a simple step-by-step solution to learn how that model goes together, or learn how that design goes together, so it can be assembled on the shop floor. And we're seeing about 25% increase in productivity on that one. 50% decrease in development cost, 20 to 50% reduction in text, and a 50% reduction in paper. So reducing that text and reducing the amount of paper that's required using images and using the interactive capabilities and videos, that companies are actually starting to go paperless, which frees up space in the shop floor, reduces time for updating. You have to go around, update all those paper binders. It's all live on the computers and always up to date. And the last thing here is to win contracts. That's one main thing we've been seeing time and time again, is when companies use Composer, sometimes it doesn't even matter about the increase in productivity and all these other time savings. It's that the end result looks so good and so professional compared to their competitors that they win that contract. And they can also get that information to their clients that much faster. That's getting their bid out there first and looking the best. And that's how we win those contracts. This next slide here, I just wanted it in the presentation because this is being recorded, and then when we put this on the web we can pause this and you guys can read it if you want. But basically it's just some clips from some more of our case studies, just saying what our customers have experienced with Composer and some feedback from them. Alright, so that wraps it up for today. This was the 5 top misconceptions of SOLIDWORKS Composer. My name is Scott Woods, Product Manager for SOLIDWORKS Composer here at Hawkridge Systems. My contact information and our company contact information is right on the board here, and please let us know if you have any questions.